4-day work weeks are the best. I wish we could do these more often. I have a feeling other countries do it a lot. I was reading how much vacation time these European countries get, and that's why they're all over here for a month and a half watching the World Cup. They get like 20 to 30 days off a year. It's like mandatory in Germany. They get 20. Most companies give 30. If my company is listening right now, and if your company is listening right now, I think you should give us all 30 days off every single year. It'd be nice. World Cup dreams came to an end last night here in the United States of America. A lot to talk about in that game. There was a lot to talk about before that game. You know, it was unfortunate not being on the air yesterday because there was so much to talk about when it came to that game. The biggest story going into USA-Belgium, unfortunately, had nothing to do with that game, and it was all about the red card and Balogun and being able to play. And look, I feel a couple different ways on him being able to play last night. Look, I thought it was a bad look for us. Obviously, the rest of the world is like, oh, of course, USA going to get their way. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this. Everybody's hating on us. USA versus the world is what we went into that matchup last night. And Balogun did play after having the red card. And, of course, we got absolutely destroyed by Belgium. And we look completely ridiculous here on a Tuesday. And it feels like the team either didn't live up to the hype or we were maybe duped by how good this team could actually be. Because when you look at where they made it, well, they didn't make it the farthest out of all of the United States teams that we've had. They went farther in 2002, and you could talk about how well they won a knockout game, but you know the round of 32 it's new, so you know they were expected to win that. It wasn't like they won a round of 16 game, which they've only done once. So you know at the end of the day, it feels like we were maybe duped a little bit on how good this team was. Now Jeff Attinella, former MLS goaltender, Hall of Famer there at USF when he was a goalkeeper there. We'll have him on at 12:15 today to talk about Team USA, but they absolutely changed my plans for Friday night. I was already planning Friday. I was getting maybe a little bit carried away because Team USA had already lost to Belgium not that long ago, 5-2. So I don't know why we all believed it was going to be different this time. We just thought Team USA was on a hot streak. Belgium was kind of older. Maybe this would be the year, and I think part of everybody buying in, it being on our soil, maybe we got a little bit ahead of ourselves because right from the very beginning, it felt like the USA was just outmatched. But where they changed my plans on Friday, they were going to play Friday at 3 o'clock. Maybe a little watch party was going to go down at Ferg's, I'm sure, right before the Rays game. And then you got Younghoe weekend kicking off on Friday. I mean, plans for Friday were ready to roll. We were going to leave the show here at 2 o'clock, get down to Ferg's, watch the game, go over to the Trop. I'm excited about the upper deck being open. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. I've never sat up there. I've never even been up there. It's never been open in my entire time of living in Tampa Bay, at least not to my knowledge. If it has, I missed it. But that's what I was looking forward to the most on Friday was just that. That was going to be such a good sports day. Now, overall, the World Cup did its job. The World Cup kept us entertained for the last couple of weeks with football season, American football, right around the corner. At the end of this month, the Buccaneers are going to start training camp. And we know how that goes. It flies by once it begins. August, you get some preseason games, and before you know it, week 0 of the college football season, then Labor Day weekend, and then boom. On a Wednesday night, we're going to have the rematch between the Seahawks and the Patriots. So it did its job. It kept us entertained while nothing else was really going on other than baseball. Now, luckily for us, we have a really good baseball team in town. First team to get to 50 wins. And they are keeping us entertained. But not everybody else has that. We've been a little bit spoiled this year. Just ask pretty much every American League team not in New York. They're not having as fun with baseball as we are. So the World Cup, it distracted us for a little bit. In fact, I told Aaron Jacobson yesterday, we played a round of golf. He was off, I was off. And by the way, I am not built for July golf. And we played early, but it's so hot. It's not enjoyable once you get to be that hot. But it is the only time of the year where the course prices are actually worth it. Because I swear, like we have some good courses around here. It's not the top notch of golf courses. Every single one of them thinks they're better than what they really are. The prices they charge for golf these days, or at least in this area, is absurd. You'll pay $100 and you get out on the course and you're like, really? There's dirt in the middle of the green. No $100 course should have dirt in the middle of the green, but that's where we are. But I told him yesterday, I'm like, I need this World Cup to end. It's taking all of my time, all my attention. It's kind of keeping me away from the Rays a little bit. I'm still watching. I got the 2 TVs. I look like a sports psycho, but I've had the volume up for, the World Cup. I'm into it. And I'm still going to continue watching going forward. I know a lot of people are going to bow out. Argentina and Egypt on right now. I'm watching it here in the studio. Am I bummed about how it all went down? Yes. Now, when it comes to Balogun, since I didn't get to speak on it yesterday, I hate that politics had to get involved. Like, I'm happy that he got to play. I just wish that maybe the White House doesn't have to say that part out loud. Maybe just keep it quiet. Let FIFA handle all of it and let them have the credit and let everyone be mad at them rather than making us just look bad as a whole, because that's what the whole story was about. Oh, your president's going to call and get him off the hook? Which, by the way, I don't think he's the first leader of a country to do so.
Keir Starmer did it before the Mexico-England game.
There you go. So it's happened. But it is a bad look. And then when you go out there and you get your butt whipped, I wish that it would have been done. I'm happy that he did it because I wanted Balogun to play, even though it didn't make a difference. I thought going into the game it would. I just wish he could have not told anybody. But I knew that wasn't going to happen. And so that's the part I didn't like about it. Now, for everyone that's having a hard time understanding, because soccer, look, it's foreign to us. And everybody, and Tim, I saw you tweeting about it too, about how it wasn't intentional. And the thing with soccer is that red cards, intent doesn't matter. The guy in the England-Mexico game, whoever it was that got the red card for England, he didn't intentionally slide tackle and stick a cleat into the guy's leg when he got a red card, but he did it, and so he's out. Now, the difference was with Balogun's red card against Herzegovina is that when he got the red card, they went back and they reviewed it by video, and they slowed it down, which you're not allowed to do. That's the problem I had with it. It wasn't called a red card on the field. They went back to VAR. They slowed it down. You're not supposed to do that. That's against the rules. You got to watch it at full speed, and at full speed, it doesn't really look like much. And so that's why they dug into the FIFA rule book, and they were able to overturn it. Now, is FIFA corrupt as hell? Yes. They're one of the most corrupt organizations ever. For them to overturn that pissed off the soccer world. Now, Balogun, who plays over in Europe, he had an opportunity to really make a name for himself personally. And I give him credit for playing in the game, because if he sits that out, right, think about this. If he sits that game out yesterday, says, you know what? It's about the integrity of the game. I'm going to honor it. I'm not supposed to play. This has never happened in the World Cup, at least not since the 60s. And I know it's happened before the World Cup began. Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be banned for 2 or 3 games, and they lowered his ban after a red card, yada, yada, yada. But Balogun, if he sits out yesterday, he becomes one of the top-selling jerseys over in Europe, because those Europeans were going to be like, oh, my God, he sat out. Like, I respect this guy. And it drives his value up so much in England. Or I should say Europe. I believe he plays for FC Milan. So it drives his value up, because everybody would have been like, I can't believe he did that. I love that he did that. But he didn't do that. And I'm glad he didn't. He went out there. He played for the red, white, and blue. He gave it his all. Wasn't his best game of the tournament, that's for sure. But it just didn't look like anybody on Team USA played their best game. And I thought Christian Pulisic had one of the worst tournaments. He's the guy that everybody knows on Team USA coming into the World Cup. Majority of people had no idea who Balogun was. Obviously, he took over because he started scoring goals and became the star. But if you knew one player and only one player, his name was probably Christian Pulisic. And you would have not even known that he played this tournament, because he didn't really do much. And yesterday, he ends up getting hurt, spraining an ankle, but not going off to the side and not getting off of the field. And Belgium ends up scoring. Like, go down, roll around, do what all soccer players do. Grab your leg, run around like you're dying, and get off the field. He made a mistake by staying out on that field. It cost the team a goal, and then he eventually went out, and he was done. Now, I wonder 4 years from now, when soccer comes back around, if Christian Pulisic is still the face of Team USA Soccer, because I thought this tournament was just very disappointing on his part. Like I said, Balogun became the star. And then, Freeze, the goaltender, what was going on? It was like a Younghoe Koo He did that for the Giants. Remember when Younghoe Koo went to kick a field goal and he, like, planted his foot into the ground?
Yep.
That is what Freeze did yesterday. I mean, that was just really, really bad. I mean, they looked so silly. And the fact that all the talk was about the red card and it was already kind of, people were already kind of pissed at us and clowning us. And then that goal happens, and I was like, oh, that one completely tops it. Like, that is such a bad look for us in soccer in the United States. Now, I thought it was interesting when the game was over, the broadcast crew kind of like begging you to make sure you continue to watch soccer going forward. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if you guys stayed to the very end of the game. You might have been tuned out at that point. But once it was, pretty much officially over and out of reach when they scored the fourth goal, the broadcast was like, you don't have to not watch soccer for 4 years. Like, you can support a club. That is allowed to happen. Basically just trying to get Americans to stay into the sport. We'll see what happens. I doubt it.
Not happening.
And look, I'm going to try to get into it, but I always say I'm going to, and then I never do. Now, would I get into MLS? I probably would if we had a team in Tampa, but we don't. If I was going to watch a league, I'd probably watch the Premier League because it's the top league. I think I could get into that. I really do like the game. I'm not one of those people that just wanted to change every single rule. That was the real big thing here in the States is like we don't like some of the rules or understand them. And so we want to just change them. And I'm not a fan of that because this is a game that's been played for a long time. Everybody else in the world likes the rules. And by the way, we have American football, which I think is one of the most confusing sports when you really look at all the rules. And we can understand that concept. I think we could eventually grasp everything that soccer, has when it comes to rules. But the offsides rule, it can be confusing, but it's not really if you just pay attention. Yes, it does take away some exciting plays, but so does offsides in football. I mean, penalties in football do that all the time in American football. Now, the only moment in the World Cup where I was like, okay, I wish we could change this is the red card rule. I think having to sit out the rest of the game and then the next game, that's a little much. It's kind of like targeting in college football. I don't support it at all. I don't want targeting to happen. And I think that, if you're going to kick a kid out of the game for targeting, okay, that's fine. But to have to kick him out of that game plus the next game for a half, I think it's a little excessive, especially when, again, it's not intentional. Now, again, when it comes to red cards, I know intent doesn't matter. And that was something I think we were having a hard time understanding here in the States was intent does not matter. It happened. But the reason they were overturning the red card, which, look, probably doesn't happen if we weren't the host, probably doesn't happen if it's not the United States. I get why they did it, because the media storm, it was coming for FIFA from the U.S. They didn't want that bad publicity here. They're trying to grow the game. That wouldn't have helped. But to have to sit out a whole nother game, I think it's a little excessive. So I think that part could be changed. I think that's a part that Americans don't love. Other than that, I have no problem with the game. I've really enjoyed the World Cup. I'll continue to watch it going forward. But I am a little bit bummed that Friday no longer will be Team USA watch party. Head on over to the Trop for a Rays game. Unfortunately, it'll just be head over to Rays game, which is still fun, but I wanted the whole thing. I wanted more. But Team USA just did not play a great game last night. We'll talk to Jeff Attinella coming up next. Former MLS goaltender, former USF goaltender, Hall of Famer over at USF. We've had him on the show pretty much every week during the tournament. So we'll talk to him next. Was it a disappointment for Team USA going out in the round of 16? We'll talk about it with Jeff coming up next.